Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mariam Narona, and I have been conducting a series of webinars for students to help them with certain things to prepare them for the next step. Like it could be post graduation, it could be taking up a job, and today I'll be talking a little bit about how to write high impact resumes. And this is not just a talk about preparing any sort of resume. It's a high impact resume, so we'll just get to how to go about that in a little bit. But before that, now there's a reason why this presentation is about high impact resumes, not just any resume but a high impact resume, and that is because of 6 seconds. Now you'll wonder, what is the 6 seconds? A 2012 study by an organization called The Ladders revealed that on an average, recruiters spend about 6.25 seconds reading a resume. In 2018, a study revealed that recruiters spend around 7.4 seconds reading a resume. So whether it is 6 seconds or whether it is 7 seconds or even inching towards 8 seconds, let's just say this: we have a very short window to make an impact on the recruiter, and that is why our resume has to be high impact. It has to be something that makes the recruiter sit up and take notice, and that is why today we are not going to talk about just making any ordinary resume, but how we can increase the impact and make our resume stand out. That's what we are going to discuss. Before we go ahead, I think one thing which needs to be clarified is the difference between a resume and a CV. Many a time those terms are used interchangeably, rather they are used synonymously. Now there is a difference between a resume and a CV, and that difference lies in content, it lies in length, it lies in context. Now a resume is a summary of a candidate's qualifications, skills and experience, which is prepared in the context of the job for which he is applying. It is a summary, that means it is a very brief document. It should ideally not exceed 1 or 2 pages. Whereas a CV, which is curriculum vitae, translated from the Latin expression, and it means the course of my life. It is really, it's not a summary. A CV is not a summary. It is a description of everything that a person has done as far as his educational and professional career is concerned. So one thing is clear, that a CV is lengthy, it could be exhaustive. If somebody is studied a lot, has skipped many jobs or changed many jobs, and so naturally his CV will be very exhaustive. A CV will not be necessarily prepared in the context of the job for which a person is applying, but a resume is always to be prepared. A good resume is always to be prepared in the context of the job for which you are applying. So before we go ahead, I thought I will clarify that thing. And now on the screen you have a resume, and I just want you to observe a few things about it, like the layout and things like that, because we've already spoken about the short window or the really small window we have to make an impact. And if you look at this, you'll be able to understand a little bit about how a high impact CV or a CV which makes people sit up and take notice looks like. This is just a sample, just one example. Now, a great resume has certain characteristics or features, and so if you want to really make a great resume, what are the points that you need to keep in mind? you need to have a clean layout and font for your resume. That means a layout is the arrangement of the components of your resume. So that layout has to be clean, it does not have to be cluttered. Your font has to be very professional, it has to be a clean font, so don't use very fancy or cursive fonts. Go with some clean fonts like Tahoma, Verdana, Arial, Calibri. These are very clean fonts. I would say don't go with the Times New Roman because that is very predictable. So try to have some professional and clean font of your choice. Then length of the resume, which I've already mentioned, that a good resume is one which is not lengthy. It is 1 or 2 pages. It should have an easy to read structure. Now, studies have found that whenever people read on the web, they read in an E or in an F, flow. So your resume, the sample which I just showed you, has that. It has a horizontal section on top with a photograph, name and title. Then it has a vertical column on your left, which has the contact details and things like that. And then on the bottom there is a horizontal strip which is it has skills in that part, and then the middle is filled with little rows of information. So your structure has to be easy to read, and ideally an E or F structure, because that's how people read on the web, that's how all of us read on the web. And most likely nowadays you would be submitting your CV, your resume online. Then optimize the top quarter. That's the first thing people see. Everybody starts reading from the top of the page, so your top quarter, 25% of your page, should be neat, clean, and it should be well organized. There should be something that catches the eye of the reader. Crisp titles. So instead of saying accounts executive or accounts manager, you can say accountant, or you can say finance manager or manager, something like that. You keep your titles very crisp, clear divisions. You have clear sections where you have your skills, where you have your contact information, where you have your name, all that. Those divisions have to be very clear, like they were in the sample. And use of color. Now, use of color, this is a personal choice. I would say if you want to use color, use it, but keep it very staid and professional, like navy and gray, or blue and gray, or something like that. I don't really know how much a red or an orange or a yellow would work. If you have a very colorful personality, you may want to think that your resume should be a reflection of that. I'm not so sure how that will work. That will be a call you have to take. I would not advise that. Now, moving on to which are the different types of resumes. So when you want to choose which type, you should be aware first and foremost of which are the different types and for what purpose they are used. So you have a chronological resume, you have the functional resume, and you have the hybrid resume. Now the chronological resume is best for standard positions, like traditional positions you're applying for, like a manager or an accountant. And the job posting, if it says that the candidate should be experienced in that particular domain, then the chronological resume is more suitable. And the company culture, you when you read only, you will understand about a company. If it's a startup or something like that, they would be more experimental and things like that. But if it is a, say, 200-year-old company, they would be rather traditional. And their chronological resumes are also known as reverse chronological resumes, and they are preferred by hiring managers and recruiters. Now, functional resumes are what is recommended for freshers because they are for entry level positions, and where you have to the resume focuses on the skills and not the experience, because usually at that point of time you won't have experience, and the company culture is innovative and it is forward looking. So it is also very good for you, a functional resume, if you are have taken a break in your career, that break has lasted for a long time for whatever reasons, personal or professional, then a functional resume is what you should use or opt for. And then you have the hybrid, which is an in between, a mix of chronological and functional, and it is ideal where the job requires experience, good experience, but then that is not one of your strengths, and you can add that functional element to your chronological experience, and you can emphasize on your achievements in a hybrid resume. So we'll go on to understand the format of each of these types. So, chronological resume, also known as reverse chronological resume, has three main parts. It's organized like this: you start with the contact information, where you mention name, your title or profession, phone number, email ID, and preferably a link to your LinkedIn profile if you have one. Now, I'd just like to mention here that when you are uh, writing your phone number, you don't need to write the words phone number before that. Email ID, you don't really need to write email ID, you just write it down or put it down like that. So, contact information, then this will be followed by work experience in reverse order, that that means you start with your most recent job, the one you are in currently, or the one you left, and if you're unemployed right now, and your work experience should be written in this format. It should have these details: your company name, location of the company, job title, and start and end dates. Then you have education, which is the third part of the reverse chronological resume. In this section, you mention name of the institution, degree, school location, and years attended. Now, a name of institution, I would say, becomes really important because people would naturally prefer somebody from Harvard, somebody from Cambridge, somebody from Oxford, is somebody from Stanford, somebody from Purdue, right? So the name of the institution, this is why in my earlier session on career mapping, I had said that when you're choosing to study at a place, whether it is for graduation or post graduation, when you make that choice, you should not think about where are my friends going. You should look for the best institute which is producing the kind of people in the domain or the field in which you want to work. So the reverse chronological resume has these three sections to it. Now, going on to the functional resume, which I said is ideal for all the attendees today, because many are graduates and fresh graduates and fresh postgraduates, uh, and even there are many students from junior college who have joined the session. So I'd just like to say that the functional resume is recommended for you. Finally, it's your call. The information flows in this order: contact information, I will not repeat what that is because I just explained it. Qualifications, now in this you can cherry pick which qualifications you want to highlight. So you may be a BCom graduate, but if you are applying for the position of a graphic designer, then if you have a certification in graphic design, that is what you would want to highlight, because that is most suitable to the job you're applying for. It is not because you're a BCom that you would be suitable for that job. So you can cherry pick. Then skills, your hard and soft skills with the context in which you have acquired them. Now, you will wonder as a student how you can do this. So, I would say I have students who are in my core committee, my startup cell core committee. So, those students may say that, I have. I'm a team player, or I have occupied positions of leadership in the core committee of the startup and innovation cell of my college, which is a university level body. And during that time, or in that capacity, I have headed the conduct of many events and organized many events which required me to work with many people. So skills, that's how you can showcase. So hard skills are skills which are they are tangible, you can see them. But soft skills like communication, how good a communicator are you, how good an influencer are you, a team builder are you, that cannot be seen. Then additional information you may want to include if you've got any honors, awards and achievements which are relevant to the position that you are applying for. So as I just said, that if you're a graphic designer and in your course you topped, or you won the best design award for something, then it would be valuable to mention that here. Professional experience in reverse order, that we have already covered in work experience in the previous format, chronological resume. And education also I have just mentioned, so that remains the same. Moving on to a hybrid resume. Now, this is the flow would be contact information. I will not repeat this again. Summary statement, which is like a blurb in your resume where you explain your strongest experience, accomplishments and skills. Say you're an HR manager and you're applying for a position in a 5-star hotel. It's a luxury property, luxury brand, and so there you may want to explain your strongest experience where you started, you worked as an HR manager in a pre-opening property with a staff of where were 5 or 10, and then you recruited like the 200 people which were required to man that hotel, and how you ran the show there for 2-3 years. And that would be probably one of your strongest experiences. That's just an example. And what are the skills that you exhibited, team building, leadership, whatever that may be. So that should come in a summary statement. And obviously this is one of the highlights of your resume if you're using the hybrid resume. Then skills, the skills have to be relevant to the job and according to the keywords. Like if you're applying for the post of a freelance writer. Now I'm a teacher, I'm also a freelance writer, I've been a blogger, and I'm a podcaster. So if I'm applying for a freelance writing position, my teaching skills listed there will not really help me. But if I list how much experience I've had in how many genres of writing, then that would help. At the same time, now let's say if I'm applying for a job where I have to develop some e-content, then there my skills as a teacher and as a writer will count. So that's how you showcase your skills in a hybrid resume. Then professional experience and education, those remain the same as what we have just discussed. So broadly you have these 3 options before you. You could choose between a chronological resume, a functional resume, or a hybrid resume, but ideally for freshers a functional resume is recommended. So with that, I just like to thank you all for joining me today, and I just want to make a few closing remarks here. That when you make a resume, please ask yourself whether your resume passes the 30-second litmus test, because you know that a recruiter is not even going to spend 30 seconds. He's going to spend less than 10 seconds on your resume. So on a higher side, you take take that and evaluate yourself. Just put a little bit of distance between yourself and the resume and try to gauge that. Then ask yourself, how impactful is the top quarter of my resume in the context of the job I'm applying for. So if I'm that's what I'm saying, if I'm applying for a freelance writer position, then is the top quarter of my resume going to work if I mention their teacher? So ask yourself these questions and be prepared to rewrite your resume. Don't treat your resume as something like you write it once and then, or you get somebody else to make it and then that's the one you use for every job that comes along, and then you wonder why you're not getting any calls for interviews, and that the problem is with your resume. So you be prepared to rewrite that several times, as many times as is required, and always make it in the context of the job which is being advertised or which you are applying for. Now I'll just tell you a few reasons, 3 or 4 reasons why most resumes don't get shortlisted. Now this is important for you to know. Most resumes don't get shortlisted because they are not ATS friendly, that's applicant tracking system friendly. Then it's a software which recruiters use to sort and match applicants. So the keywords may not be matching those in the job description, and that is exactly why you need to customize your resume each time you apply for a job. Resumes are either accepted or rejected by recruiters depending on how recruiter friendly they are. So that's just what your top quarter has to be impactful. Your skills, summary of experience and achievements should be there. Goes without saying that your resume must be free from typographical and grammatical errors. So and it should not have any false information over there. Then your resume version, the length, 1 to 2 pages, that's it. It should not be more than that. And a good cover letter, is a differentiator, and again it has to be written with reference to the job which you are applying for. It doesn't have to be something generic. So I'm sure I've tried as far as possible to cover and everything that you would need to know to make an impactful resume. In case you have any queries, my email ID is out there. You can definitely mail me, and do check out my podcasts. One is called Illuminate, Insights for Personal Growth, and the other is Behind the Brands. It's a marketing podcast. So do tune in for some interesting insights, and thank you so much.